Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another World of Warcraft Classic Guide. My name is Cargos, and today I am really excited to share with you this comprehensive Warlock leveling guide for World of Warcraft 1.12. This is going to be version 2 of the guide. Version 1, as you know, got taken down. That's okay. This was an opportunity to dive deep, to contact more Warlocks, to refine the guide, to improve upon the guide, to add more tips and tricks, more talent, overviews. We added wand progression for both Alliance and Horde in here in a kind of a clean visual way for you guys. Really excited to share this information with you. So let us get started. I need to first shout out my fellow collaborators on this project. These people made this guide possible. If it weren't for them, this guide really, literally would not exist. Goth, Azu, Marky Mark, Snack, XN, Zephan, and all the other Warlocks that contributed something in the Warlock Discords. Thank you so much. Warlock leveling. Warlocks are tier 1 levelers. They're extremely strong levelers. They have pretty much every leveling amenity imaginable. High damage, high sustain, high utility. They're self-reliant. They have soul stones, hell stones, summons, great group utility. They have low gear dependence. They have a very smooth natural weapon progression in the form of wands, which we'll get into later. They're strong out in open world PvP. Unless you're going up against a class that has dispels, once you have that double sack, you're pretty much unkillable. You get a free mount at level 40. This is actually pretty impactful. You're able to invest that gold earlier without penalty. And they really shine when it comes to taking on multiple targets at once indefinitely. They can sustain against multiple targets better than any other class in the game. So the cons, there aren't many here, but they have low mobility. They don't have movement boosting abilities or talents like an aspect of the cheetah, a blink, a feline swiftness, in cat form, a travel form, anything like that. So that is probably their biggest weakness. They have reduced inventory space because they have soul shards, and they also have additional pet training costs in the form of grimoires. Class overview. I don't want to read this big wall of text for you, but let me put it this way. Warlocks are the only class that can utilize both health and mana as interchangeable resources. You have life tap, you have drain life, and this allows you to really push the limits of your combat efficiency. And I talk about this all the time. I know I'm probably like a broken record at this point, but if you're sitting at full health or full mana, especially on a Warlock, you're probably misplaying because you need a life tap, balance out your health and your mana. You need to chain pull faster. You need to expend more mana per mob, so you're constantly regenerating. You're constantly thinking a couple steps ahead. And if you can really do this and be adaptive and really push the limits of your combat efficiency, you can get absolutely nutty value out of Warlocks. And then my favorite aspect of Warlock leveling, this is a sentiment that was echoed by every Warlock I had the honor of speaking with, is that they're flexible. They lend themselves to your playstyle. There's not one cookie cutter build. It's not like leveling a Frost Mage or something. There's a bunch of different ways you can level a Warlock, and you're going to have a good time either way. So take everything I'm about to share with you with a grain of salt and realize you can shift stuff around based on your own playstyle. Okay, before you get started, these are just some general things to keep in mind, kind of disclaimers of sorts. Just like every other mana user in the game, you need to factor the 5-second mana regeneration mechanic into your decision making. So if you live under a rock and you don't know this, your mana will not start regenerating until you don't cast something for 5 seconds. Now, I was able to test this on the PTR. The life tap is an exception to this rule. Life tap uses health, not mana. So using life tap will not prevent you from regenerating mana naturally, so keep that in mind as well. So also your rotation, especially as a Warlock, is going to be dynamic throughout the game. It's going to depend on a million factors, and you have to think. It's going to think if the mob is higher level, is it lower level? Does it have high hit points, low hit points? Does it have spell resist? Did you just get a new badass rank of Curse of Agony or Corruption, or even Shadow Bolt? Maybe Shadow Bolt's just going to be better. Or is your wand really strong right now? Is your wand going to be stronger than your dots? Maybe just wand it to death. Think, understand your rotation is dynamic. Don't just take a static rotation at face value. Like I said before, push the limits of your combat efficiency. Just be ambitious about your play. If mobs are dying easily and you're ending the fight with full mana, just know that you're misplaying most likely. All right. Useful things to keep in mind, I talked about the life tap thing already, so every time that you have a disproportionately high amount of life compared to your mana, throw in taps. Really no downside, throw in those taps. Immolate is your least damage to mana, your least efficient damage to mana spell until Siphon Life, so if you are having mana issues, maybe you have been mismanaging your mana or something like that, maybe you are misplaying, you can take out Immolate from the rotation, but if you are playing properly, I think you should be able to squeeze that Immolate in there. Also consider leveling first aid so you can bandage both yourself and your pet. This is going to be more useful than you think. Health funnel's kind of trash. And also, like I said before, at stages of the game, your wand, especially early on, will potentially do more damage than your abilities. Some of those like early wands, like Lesser Magic Wand, is nutty, dude. It's 11 something DPS. Really, really strong. So don't just, make use of your wands, and also realize that when you use an instant cast, you don't have to wait for that GCD to finish before you can start wanding. So there is a lot of value in using instant cast, and we'll get into that in a second. All right, macros. We're going to spec into improved drain soul, so we're going to need these drain soul macros. Here's the simple one that you can use pre-level 20. Post-level 20, you'll have that soul shard bag. You can use that classic one we'll talk about in the next slide, but this is really simple. Cast drain soul rank 1. You don't want to learn anything past drain soul rank 1. The damage is really negligible, and you'd just be spending more mana for a little gain. Then we have a simple / script cast pet action 2. Get comfortable using this very simple script. You can plug in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Basically what this will do is it will select whatever is on the second slot of your pet's action bar. So by default that's probably going to be follow. So by doing this, it's going to cast Drain Soul rank 1, and then after you start casting, your pet will start coming back to you, ensuring that you get the killing blow. So you'll only get that effect of improved Drain Soul if you land the killing blow. We'll get into that more later. So you're also going to need a standalone pet send macro and a pet recall macro. You want to have control of your pet. Here's a little more fancy one. You can also just use a / script pet attack one. Pet recall macro to bring it back. Also, you want to bake in your pet attack into your casted abilities. So things like Shadow Bolt or Immolate, because you want your pet to be proactive. As soon as you hit this macro, you want your pet to be moving to engage that target. You don't want it to be reactive. You don't want that Shadow Bolt to connect with the target and that target to start casting at you before your Voidwalker realizes, oh crap, I need to start going to this mob to taunt. You want that Voidwalker to be moving in a productive direction as soon as you start casting and hitting that macro. Here's a 20+ drain macro. What this will basically do is delete the soul shard out of your bottom right corner of your leftmost bag, which should be your soul shard bag. And if your bag isn't full, nothing will be deleted. Pet ability macros. You're going to want to bind all of your pet abilities to macros and put them on your bars. So here's a Voidwalker, for example. You have 4 spells: Torment, Sacrifice, Consume Shadow, Suffering. Torment is your taunt. Sacrifice is your Voidwalker shield, which will kill your Voidwalker and give you a damage absorbing shield. Consume Shadows is your out of combat pet health regeneration, pet heal thing. Suffering is your AoE taunt. So those same cast pet action scripts will work just fine. Put Torment on the 4th slot of your pet's action bar, Sacrifice on 5, Consume Shadows on 6, Suffering, whatever floats your boat, but bind them all separately. The hardcore Warlocks will even tell you to just manually taunt. I keep mine on auto cast. I'm all about that quality of life, reducing APM and mental energy that you need to expend per kill. So it's really not that serious at the end of the day, but if you really want to go hardcore, you can Torment manually every single time, whatever floats your boat. Level 1 to 10, Warlocks are the strongest levelers in the game at this stage. I can't think of another class that's stronger 1 to 10. You get a pet at level 4, which boosts your damage considerably, and then you can start doing this method that I like to call triangle trapping. I've heard some people call it triangulating. I've heard people just call it imp tanking. There's lots of different ways to call it, but it's essentially this. You use that pet send macro on your imp and tell your imp to engage a target. It will start casting firebolts, building up threat on that target. At this point, you will strafe left, you will strafe right. You will create a triangle formation between the target, your imp, and yourself, as you can see demonstrated in this little nifty picture here on the right. So you are going to strip the threat off your imp by using Shadow Bolt, which deals high threat. That mob will start running to you. The travel time between your imp and you should be sufficient enough that the mob should die before getting to you. Thus, you take no damage, you spend very little mana, and your imp regenerates health and mana at a nutty rate. So you will soar through the levels. I don't even really personally bother with dots at this level. If you are killing a more sophisticated mob or something, a rare spawn, or maybe that guy in the Kul Tiras place in Duratar, something like that commander guy, what you can do is you can build up threat with your imp, apply some light dots that will not strip threat away, and as your imp is getting low and about to die, you can time it so you'll strip aggro from your imp at that point, and if you're level 8+, you can start fearing or doing whatever you gotta do. You should be able to, it should be a piece of cake. Yeah, so dots are situationally useful. Talent progression, let's get into talents. Alright, now we're going to talk about talents. I'm going to present 4 builds for you. I'm going to start with the one that's going to appeal to the majority of you guys. It's going to be Deep Affliction, moving into Demonology after getting 5 points into Shadow Mastery. The second build is going to be Affliction, up to Drain Soul, then moving into Demonology to pick up Improved Voidwalker ASAP, then moving back to Affliction, proceeding down the same path. The third build will be Affliction down to getting Siphon Life and Curse of Exhaustion and Nightfall, like just your core bread and butter Affliction spells, then moving right into Destruction to pick up Ruin. This is an interesting sort of theory-crafted build that should push your damage to its full potential. The fourth build is going to be a build where you respec at 45 to Demonology, so you can get Soul Link and Master Demonologist, these talents right here, while still maintaining your improved corruption, because the consensus amongst Warlocks is that you really shouldn't respec Demo and get Soul Link at 40 because you don't have your instant cast corruption, and that is just unacceptable. So let's get started. We're going to do 5 out of 5 improved corruption. This will make your corruption instant cast. This is absolutely mandatory in my mind, so this will change your rotation as well, and also as soon as you have an instant cast, that means you can start wanding while using the instant cast. You don't have to wait for the global cooldown to finish in order to start wanding, so that's a big deal. Some people say 2 points is enough because it brings it down to the same equivalent time as the global cooldown, but that's something I sort of disagree with a little bit. So we're going to go 5 out of 5 improved corruption. We're going to beeline it right to improved Drain Soul. This is going to be your bread and butter that's going to help you sustain. You're going to be using this every time that you're having any kind of mana issues. You're going to hit the mob with Drain Soul. You're going to get this effect. It's going to give you a 100% chance to get a 100% increase to your mana regeneration for 10 seconds if the target is killed by you while you drain its soul. So killed by you. You need to get the killing blow. If you don't get the killing blow, you will not get the effect. A lot of newer Warlock players think this ability is bugged. It is not, and that's why we have those macros that we mentioned before. Then we're going to go Suppression. 3 points into Suppression. Some Warlocks advocate for 2. They say that's all you need. Some say 3 to be a little safe. This is basically going to stop mobs from resisting your spells, which is really important. It's sort of like hit in that sense. So then we're going to go 2 into Improved Life Tap. Really, really good to help furthering your sustain. Then we're going to go 3 points to an Improved Curse of Agony. This is another pain point. Some people go, Improved Curse of Agony, it's only 6% increase in damage. That's not worth it. The thing is, what else are you going to put it in that's going to give you impact, give you value every single mob you engage, effectively? You're going to get value from this, like every single mob you kill, almost, all the way up to 60. I don't see another talent that's going to move the needle like that in this stage. So then we're going to go to Nightfall. This is really very, very strong. It gives your Corruption and Drain Life a 4% chance to cause you to enter a Shadow Trance state after damaging the opponent. The Shadow Trance state reduces the casting time of your next Shadow Bolt by 100%. So you fling off a instant cast Shadow Bolt every time this procs. And as soon as this comes online, your dot priority is going to change. Instead of applying Agony first, before Nightfall comes online, you apply Agony first because it's like a mortgage. The longer it stays on, the more value you get from it. It deals more damage towards the back end of the spell. But as soon as you have Nightfall, you're going to actually apply Corruption before Agony to get as many chances as possible to proc this Nightfall effect. Then we're going to go into 2/2 Grim Reach. This is going to improve the range of your Affliction spells by 6 yards. 20% off 30. 30 yards is going to be 6 yards, which is pretty decent. Then we're going to go Amplify Curse, Curse of Exhaustion, Siphon Life. Many people at this point will tell you to go into Improved Curse of Exhaustion. They're going to tell you it's great for kiting and PvP. Certainly there are applications for this, but you don't really use it that much. You're using it every bunch of minutes, like 20 minutes or something, you're using Curse of Exhaustion. So I think Improved Drain Life is going to be better here. You're using Drain Life a lot more. It's going to give you a lot more consistent value. So we're going to go 3 points Improved Drain Life, but maybe you want to go Curse of Exhaustion here instead. Then we're going to go 5 out of 5 Shadow Mastery. Then we are done with the Affliction tree. We're going to move into Demonology next, going to Demonic Embrace 5 out of 5, increasing your total stamina by 15% by reducing your total spirit by 5. We're going to go into Improved Voidwalker. This is going to increase the effectiveness of all of your Voidwalker skills: Torment, Consume, Shadow, Sacrifice, and Suffering by 30%. Then we're going to go 2 into Fell Intellect, 1 into Fell Domination, back into Fell Intellect all the way up to 5, 1 point into Fell Stamina, 5 into Unholy Power, then 1 into Demonic Sacrifice, but at that point it's pretty moot. You're going to respec anyway. So the talking points here: Improved Voidwalker, super good. Demonic Embrace, very good, increasing your total stamina. This is going to tie into our stat priority later on. Just keep this in mind. So Fell Intellect versus Fell Stamina. You can have more hit points on your Voidwalker and more mana on your Voidwalker. Your Voidwalker will potentially run out of mana. That will be an issue you will face. I think the mana is going to be much higher impact than having a few more hit points on your Voidwalker, because if your Voidwalker doesn't have taunt, what's the point? So this is where it gets the edge over Fell Stamina for me. Fell Domination is going to allow you to resummon your Voidwalker potentially in combat, allowing you to sack it again. This is going to make you borderline unkillable out in the open world in a 1v1 environment, unless you're going up against a class that has a Dispel, because you are very susceptible to Dispel as a Warlock. So that is it. The next variation is where you're going to basically go down, get Improved Drain Soul, and then you're going to go right into Demonology and pick up that Improved Voidwalker real quick. Then you're going to go back into Affliction and kind of follow down that same path. The third build is going to be a build where you race down to Nightfall, then you go right into, you actually race down to Nightfall and get Siphon Life and Curse of Exhaustion, so you still have your tools. Then you're going to go into Destruction and go down to Ruin. So I'll demonstrate that real quick. You're going to see me build this out real quick. 2 life tap, there we go. Grim Reach, there we go. Okay, and then we're done with Affliction, 22 points. And then we go into Destruction, we go to Improve Shadow Bolt, 5 out of 5. Bane, 5 out of 5. Then we're going to go to Devastation, 5 out of 5. Shadow Burn, Destructive Reach, 2 points into Improved Searing Pain, and then you should be at Ruin. You now have 8 points left. You're going to go 5 points into Demonic Embrace, because you will be a bit weaker in this spec, so the extra hit points definitely does help. Improve Voidwalker, and then you are done. So that's the third kind of speed leveling build, theory crafted build. This will min-max your damage for sure. You will be putting out substantially more damage. You will have to drink potentially more. You will be weaving Shadow Bolts into your rotation a lot more, so it's just an interesting thing to keep in mind. The fourth build is going to be Affliction it's going to be that same Affliction build we did, up to 45. So you go into Affliction, then you're going to start down into the demo. Then once you get to 45, you're going to respec, and this is how you're going to respec. So you're going to, it doesn't matter so much the order, right? Because you're just going to be able to do this all at one time because you're 45. So we're going to go, there we go. Got there. What are we missing here? Oh, we're going to go Fell Stamina again. Master Demonologist, Soul Link. So this is what it's going to look like. Yep, you're at 45. So you're going to have your instant cast Corruption. You're going to be able to benefit from Master Demonologist and Soul Link. And then at this point, you're going to proceed down the Affliction tree just like before. We're going to go Improve Drain Soul. We're going to go Suppression 3 out of 3. We're going to go Improve Life Tap. We're going to go Improve Curse of Agony, Nightfall, and Amplify Curse, Grim Reach, and we're done. So that is, those are the 4 different builds for you. And we are going to move back. Alright, so we're done with talents. We're going to talk about life 10 to 20. You now have your Voidwalker. Things are moving a bit smoother. So this is going to be your priority system when you're 10 to 20. Before you have instant cast Corruption, I would start with casting Corruption into an Agony, then Wand into Drain Soul. That should be more than sufficient. If you want to push out a little bit more damage, you can start with the Immolate, then cast Agony, then put Corruption, then cast Agony, and start wanding. But you're gonna realize during this bracket, if you have some of like the lesser Magic Wand or the greater Magic Wand, your wand will be doing so much damage that you want to potentially just wand stuff down. Just be efficient, throw an instant cast on, and just wand. This dot priority is going to be more impactful if you're juggling mobs, so juggling multiple mobs. That's the term that is used a lot in the Warlock community. You're essentially going to send your Voidwalker at one target, dot it up, then you're going to engage a second target, fear it, dot it. That first one should be dying. You send your Voidwalker to that third target, dot it up. You engage the fourth target, fear it, dot it up, rinse and repeat while managing your resources best you can. If you have a disproportionately high amount of life, throw in life taps whenever you can. You want to aggressively life tap whenever at all possible. And like I said before, it will not interfere with your natural 5-second mana regeneration. So then when mobs are getting low, you're going to want to hit them with that rank 1 Drain Soul with those macros we talked about. But if you're not having mana issues, there's really no need to do it. So that is pretty much it. So yeah, once you get Instacast Corruption though, you're going to start with Immolate, into Curse of Agony, into Instacast Corruption, into Wand, Drain Soul. So more on life pre-level 10 to 20. You're going to get your Grimoire of Sacrifice at level 16. Make sure you pick that up. That's going to be your Voidwalker shield. That is going to be fundamental to your survival out in the open world. You're going to get Grimoire of Consume Shadows, the out-of-combat heal for your Voidwalker at level 18. Make sure you pick those up. Make sure you're staying up to date with all your Grimoires. I'm only mentioning these ones in particular because these are new skills. So your survivability is going to be through Health Stones and Soul Stones throughout the entirety of the leveling experience. So make sure you keep these on you 100% of the time. It is just a massive value add when you die and you're able to just revive yourself immediately. You're going to skip training Curse of Recklessness, Searing Pain, and Rain of Fire, and don't train anything past Drain Soul rank 1. Life 20 to 30, skip training Eye of Kilrog, Sense Demons, Detect Lesser Invisibility, Banish, Firestone, and Enslave Demon. You're going to buy Grimoire of Suffering. This is the AoE taunt for your Voidwalker at level 24. This is going to allow you to juggle even more efficiently. You'll be able to basically engage three targets at the same time for the remainder of the game. From level 25 onwards, this is where your Nightfall comes online. Your priority of your dots is going to change. So beforehand, you were putting on Agony first, right? Because Agony is like a mortgage, like I said. It does less damage at the start of the duration of the spell. It does more damage towards the end. So prior to this point, we were using Agony before Corruption. Now we're going to put Corruption on before Agony. We want as many chances to proc that Nightfall as possible. So that's about it, 20 to 30. Like I said, if you are having mana issues, you can take off that Immolate, but you should be able to sustain it. 30 to 40, starting at level 37, you're going to attempt to have your Shadow Weave set crafted for you. This is glove, mask, pants, robe, and shoulders. This is an amazing foundation for your gear going into raids. You get a free level 40 mount, which is fantastic, which is really, really high impact, and the gold that you're saving from not having to buy that mount should potentially be sufficient enough to get that Shadow Weave set crafted. Starting at level 31, when you get Siphon Life, if you followed that first build, you'll get it at 31. You can start using it to push more damage out on juggled fear mobs. So I was talking to Exxon about this, and he was telling me on the main target you're engaging, that first target, Siphon Life is going to be your lowest priority. But on secondary or tertiary feared mobs that you're juggling, he prioritizes Siphon Life over Immolate because it is not a cast. It is an instant cast. Okay, 40 plus, you're going to skip training Curse of Shadow and Soulfire. You can start using Howl of Terror, which is your AoE fear bomb, both offensively and defensively, to push your combat efficiency further. You get Death Coil at 42. So if you have improved life tap and Death Coil, it's really, really a good time. So some of the best Warlocks, they use Death Coil on cooldown on juggled mobs when it makes sense to do so. You really have no downside once you get it, because when you Death Coil something, you gain that health from the Death Coil. However much damage you're Death Coiling for, you gain that in health. So when you tap, you're tapping into that gained health, and the gained health is more than the cost of the tap. Sorry, it's kind of an awkward way to explain it, but hopefully that makes sense. So 40 plus mobs start to become tankier and a bit more resilient to your dots, so you might want to consider using Siphon Life a bit more, even if it's not that mana efficient. It takes a bit longer to kill mobs at this stage. And you're going to do your level 50 class quest and Imp's Request. This is the one that allows you to get the Soul Harvester weapon or the trinket. You want to go ahead and pick that trinket. It's going to be better for you, more value in the long run. Now we're going to talk about attributes and stat values. So there is a whole camp of people that believe in Spirit. They think Spirit is really good, and I think it makes sense what they're telling me about Spirit, that Spirit compounds, it snowballs. Each point of Spirit is more impactful than the last. I get that, but I don't feel super confident recommending that to people, especially because we have that talent that is reducing our Spirit. That just feels bad, man. So I think the priority is going to be spell damage, followed by stamina, followed by intellect, then followed by Spirit, then agility and strength. But because stamina and intellect are kind of interchangeable based on the Warlock kit, I kind of view them equally. Just go for a nice, good balance. If you can find spell damage, definitely prioritize spell damage. It's going to be few and far between. But a good balance of stamina and intellect is going to be good, followed by Spirit, agility, and strength. So that's pretty much it. Then here's Alliance Wand progression. This is really juicy stuff. I had to kind of comb through the database to find these, but Alliance, it seemed like had more access to more wands. You're going to start off with that Lesser Magic Wand, 11.3 DPS, requires level 5. That is absolutely nutter butters. That wand is the truth. Then you're going to get Spark of People's Militia. This is from the Westfall quest. Greater Magic Wand is the second crafted one. Level 13, you can start using that. Then you got Dusk Wand. Yeah, there's a few here. I'm not going to go into all of them. The main one I want to point out is Gravestone Scepter. This bad boy right here is phenomenal if you're both Alliance or Horde. I think it has the highest damage out of any weapon. Doesn't matter if it's an axe or a sword or whatever. It has like the highest DPS out of any weapon in the game for like a whole solid 10 levels. You can get this as early as level 19. The quest says 18, but you're not going to be able to enter BFD until 19. So 19 is the earliest you can get it. It's a quest in BFD. You just got to run BFD pretty much. You'll get it 100% of the time. That's why I think it's going to be worth it. So pretty much as you're leveling as a Warlock, I wouldn't recommend doing dungeons if you're worried about speed, but if you can just like while you're leveling start putting together like a badass group of all-stars where you will just run in through BFD and just rock it out, and you really believe that you're not going to wipe and it's going to be efficient, then I do actually think it's worth doing BFD. You get a 29 DPS weapon at level 9. Well, not at level 19. You're not going to be 19 when you go in there. You need to get carried, but it's really potentially worth it to go through BFD. And then it goes on through here. So you know we have a progression all the way up to 60. There are more wands. If you are interested, you can go to the database, sort by items, wands, then you can sort by DPS and see it all like that. Same sort of thing with the Horde wand progression. There are some differences here. Let's see. One of the interesting things is Smoldering Wand. I don't think I included that in the Alliance one. Yeah, Smoldering Wand is just a white wand that is sold at the wand vendor. So if it is a fresh realm environment and you aren't able to have these crafted for you from an enchanter, the wand vendors actually sell some fantastic wands all the way up to 60. All the way up to 60. Yeah. So definitely check out those wand vendors. You can get it every time. They don't cost that much. Things like 50 silver or something like that. So that's pretty much it for wand progressions. Feel free to look through that. And then class quests, you're going to obviously do the Imp quest and the Voidwalker quest. You're going to skip the Succubus quest at 20, skip the Fell Hunter quest at 30. You do want to do the level 35 Orb of Orhill quest. It gives you an amazing offhand. You can do the level 31 In Search of Minara Voidrender quest. This gives you a robe, and the robe is going to last you for a long time, potentially into your 50s, but it is a very difficult quest to complete. Don't get jebaited into trying to do it at level 31. You will need to be a higher level than this. Potentially you need assistance. So kind of just view this as kind of the Whirlwind Axe equivalent for you as a Warlock. So do it if you can, if it's going to be efficient for you. Then at level 50, you're going to do the class quest and Imps quest we talked about for that amazing trinket. And then that's it. Closing thoughts. Nothing comes to mind right now. Thank you so much for your time. I hope this guide was of some help. If you have any questions at all, pretty much always here in the Discord. Come hit me up. If I don't have an answer for you, I can hopefully contact someone that will have an answer for you. Thank you for everything, guys. If you've seen this guide already and you've made it to the end of this guide, thank you for dealing with a second version and listening to it. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate all the support that you guys have been showing me. It really motivates me to keep going. And I'll see you guys soon on that classic demo. Take it easy.